Hello there, John again. Okay, um, what I'm putting together for this is that the Factory of Terror in Canton and the Haunted Schoolhouse, not the laboratory, that was closed, but the schoolhouse over in um, towards the end of May. It's taken me a while to kind of edit things and put stuff together, but towards the end of May, on successive respective Saturdays, did a halfway to Halloween sort of thing. So Factory of Terror had 3 out of their 5 sort of internal houses open. Haunted Schoolhouse just had the schoolhouse, not the laboratory, open, and it's just sort of like some of the restrictions have been relaxed a little bit. Things are going to be relaxed more here coming up, and things are kind of opening up again, and moving forward, which is awesome. And so they decided to kind of go back to doing some of these little off-season sort of things. So I ended up going to both, and enjoyed it a lot, both of them. And they both did a lot of cool stuff that I liked, and I'll explain more during these when I put together here. What I'm doing here with this is, instead of doing these in 2 separate sort of things, I'm just putting them all together because they were both based on the same sort of concept of the halfway to Halloween. If memory serves, they're owned by the same people, and they were only a week apart. Now, other times and other places I'll do, if I go to, like, I can go one on Friday, one on Saturday or something like that, 2 separate things, with sort of full everything open sort of review things. But like I said, I think the same people open them. It's the same sort of thing, and especially since they were the truncated versions, I figured just kind of put everything together as one thing, a halfway to Halloween thing. So that's why you'll see the length of this sort of thing, and then part way through it sort of transitions to a whole different thing, is because I did just put them together. So that's it for right now, and I'm just going to get right into it and see how I edit these things through. But I just wanted to kind of give a little preface for that. So I hope you like it. I hope it's helpful. It was fun. Both of them were fun. I enjoyed both, and I'm looking forward to stuff being opened up more so we can do more stuff throughout the year, and then have a Halloween season that actually feels like it's a good Halloween season. So with that, enjoy the show. Alright, so let me do this so you can see me. It's mid-May in 2021, and Factory of Terror and Haunted Schoolhouse, at least Haunted Schoolhouse, I just think that, not the laboratory, there we go, are doing a halfway to Halloween thing. It's Factory of Terror this week, and next week Schoolhouse. So I said, screw it. I got my mask, and the Halloween was kind of a little letdown with everything kind of the way stuff was, and figured, what the hell, let's go and see it. Haven't been here. I didn't come here at all last year, or Schoolhouse last year. It's kind of a bummer. So I'm coming here now. Again, neither one of them are going to have their whole things open, but you know what, it felt worth it to me, so I'm going to come down here, see how it is, see how everything's going with the restrictions, and just kind of have fun with it. So here we go. One of my favorite parts here, Alien and Predator. It's kind of cool. They got stuff kind of amped up. They have more stuff on Midway things now. It's kind of cool. I don't drink, but they got more stuff open and everything. It's kind of neat.
So first one was cool. I think they cut it a little short. It seemed a little short. Again, I think they got to do certain things because of all the restrictions. This is neat. I don't know if you can see it. That's just cool. I already got a couple standards of some people, although not a worker, thinking it was weird I'm here by myself. And then I had some other people who were ahead of me think that I was one of the actors' monsters and get freaked out. I mean, I am sort of dressed in black, and I guess my general demeanor is fairly creepy. But before I forget, shout out to the very nice young lady with the blonde and I think pink hair who recognized me from this stuff. So awesome, thank you, I really appreciate it. And I got a friend.
Don't worry, we'll make sure he gets back home in about 5 to 6 weeks. It'll be a couple of shipping parts. Don't worry, we take care of shipping and handling. That's on us because we understand everybody's going through a financial crisis right now. That's the least we can do to help.
5 to 6 weeks, is that going through the post office?
I think so, I'm not sure. USPS, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We tried that Amazon Prime, but it's a little too chaotic.
Yeah, I don't want to, yeah.
Exactly.
Too much. Oh. Always a good time. Had someone who was like, here, eat a foot, and then shoved like a foot in my mask. It was kind of funny. Uh-oh.
Say hello to Phil. This is my buddy Phil. As you can clearly see, aliens are real. The government didn't want to tell you about that. I was at the... Oh, just lost another one. The cannon is like Hunger Games. Every time it goes off, we lose another customer. Oh,
It happens. It's just part of life here in haunted houses.
Factory of Terror, yep.
So there we go. So that was part 1. Next part is Lafayette 13. I'm looking forward to this one. It's sort of a house one. Again, they've in the past year they kind of changed stuff up. How flow goes, and then also I think again how long some of the houses are going to be. Yeah, that first one didn't seem nearly as long as I remember it, but it was still cool. It was still neat, a lot of cool stuff, good feeling to it, and here we go, part 2. Okay, so that was cool. It was very different the last time I was here. Some new animatronics, some new setup with stuff. Several places where you do kind of got to watch your step, but it's nice because they do a good job here with playing with their space. Because there's so many places that's like it's a huge frickin' factory. I got another friend. So there's so many places where they play with space. And then they will have everything really tight. There was one spot that was like sort of a blackout. It wasn't total absolute blackout, but it was a blackout space and it went on a little too long. But the rest of it was sort of crypt, house, swampy sort of thing. They even had the sort of, you know, abdomen level laser with some smoke. That sort of sci-fi swamp sort of thing, which is fucking cool. And so I really love that. All the actors here, there's only been like 1 or 2 that's been kind of like jump scare scream. A lot of them have been really cool about just sort of playing around. Yeah, more than just trying to growl at you and scream at you or anything. Out of 2 houses, there has only been like maybe 1 or 2 like blatantly rednecky sort of stuff. But everyone's kind of just been cool and playing around. It seems like they're having a lot of fun with it. It's just like one time in the middle of May for like 8 months before, and then we got another 5 months to go before anything else, or 4 months or whatever. So it's just they're kind of like being cool with it. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, when you can always tell people are having fun with it, that's always enjoyable. It makes it more enjoyable. I don't know if you can see some Skellington boys up there. I think that's just more tables and stuff. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, it's like there's like a tarot reading or something. That's cool. That's a good idea. And yeah, you're good. Thank you. Cool earrings. Yeah, cool bat earrings that hang down. And then there's like this bar, this Forsaken bar over here. So yeah, like the last like 2 or 3 years, I started coming here for their Christmas thing in 17. So the past couple of years, they've like kind of upped the sort of liminal experience, so the stuff between the houses, and it's kind of neat. So I'm gonna go on, actually gonna have to go to the bathroom, and then we'll hit part number 3 here. Super blurry. Oh, there we go. Focus. Hooray. So last bit here, Massacre on the Mahoning. So you know there was the bathroom situation is porta potties. Normally I don't go here, but I've been sort of restricting some of my caloric intake and upping my already ridiculously considerable water intake, so I kind of didn't have a choice. Boy, this does not want to focus, does it? Sorry about that. All right, anyway, Massacre on the Mahoning. I can't get this to focus at all, so we're just going to dump it and keep going. All right, just so you know, too, if you want, the Bullseye Axe Bar is open. But that one seemed like it was the full house, or it was at least closer to the full whole thing than before. It's really loud. Hold on. So yeah, closer to the whole thing than before, which was neat and good. And so they got a photo center set up. And some merch. Gotta have the merch. Love the merch. I got some merch. I usually get merch from these things. But yeah, that last one seemed like it was closer to the full house, but it did seem like it was rerouted. Yeah, like they changed the pattern of the halls a little bit or something. I don't know, it just seemed that way because some things seemed to be just in different order. But I could be wrong. There did seem to be in all 3. I'm keeping my mask on because there's still people over here. There did seem to be some differences from when I was here like a year and a half ago, which I guess is to be expected. This is supposed to be one of like the guys. I'm sorry, again, it's hard to talk and breathe. It's one of like the top things and everything like that, supposedly. And so yeah, it makes sense that they change some stuff up and maneuver some things around and all that good stuff. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there was this one was kind of cool. One of the things they did was have like was kind of have it where there were some things where there was, you know, like a low clearance. Especially since they didn't have it. Jeez. Like they didn't have it in some of the other houses because, well, they closed off huge sections of the other houses. And like the first one, sometimes there's It's like a doghouse thing that once in a while they make you go through. Particularly me, as one of them said one time I went there, it was like, you look too nice, you're going through. So I had to like kind of crawl through the little doghouse. They got mats down and stuff like that. And one of the places that was, I think it was skipped in the first house, or it was supposed to be in the second house that they did not have open. Because I think they did like the first, third, and fifth as opposed to having all 5. Itchy, 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 itchy. Can't have a nose this big and masks and not be. So they didn't, I can't remember if it was in the first or second house. Again, it's been like a year and a half. But there's a couple of them that have huge factory parts. And in one of them, you kind of crawl through it too. Not crawl, you kind of have to hunch over a bit through, a piece of large sort of tubing. Or, I don't even know what else it would be called. So either that was in the second house or circumvented from the first. And I can't remember again which one it was, the first or the second, that has basically like a hall of mirrors. And if that was in the first house, I guess I can kind of understand not having that if that was in the first house. Again, I'm blanking whether it was the first or second when they are traditionally open fully is kind of what I mean by that. I don't know if I explained that well. It's kind of like Hall of Mirrors. And I guess I can kind of understand having that not be open, because if people kind of get turned around and bombed around, then you're going to create, a certain amount of confusion and maybe cluster, and they don't want to do that. So yeah, but there was a few places where you did kind of have to duck a little bit. So again, it's that sort of playing with space and that playing with sensory stuff that I get some places can't do because maybe they don't have the space, or they're like 7 floors where they're temporary. They've got to put up all the sets and then strike them every year. And this is like a permanent structure, and it's a big permanent structure. And Haunted Schoolhouse and the Laboratory, those are permanent structures too, but they have, it seems like maybe a little bit more limits on space because they're old schools. This was a huge old factory, so there's a ton of space for them to play with and be able to work around. So that's kind of nice, and they're kind of doing that. And when I noticed too, it seemed like they did this more this time, or maybe I just noticed it more this time, but there are a couple places where they kind of had like lights in the eyes. But it wasn't like when Cedar Point does it, because in the haunted houses for Halloween weekends at Cedar Point, when they do it, it's basically like stage lighting right directly in your eyesight, like right there. It's like, I got it, doing one of these just to try and walk down a straight hole. This had it where it was maybe around a couple corners, and it was like one of them was sort of like a lamp with a little bit lower wattage bulb, but it was still sort of like not right in your face, but it was kind of like you walked around and it kind of flashed a little bit. It kind of gave you a little discombobulation and things like that. And there are a couple other places that did that, but it wasn't like these stage lights or spotlights directly on your face. But it still had the sort of second of sensory kind of, without being like, all right, damn, dude, seriously, which was cool. Again, more of the actors kind of playing around with you and more sort of quiet staring or kind of trying to be creepy, or, other different voices or other stuff, as opposed to just the and screaming or jump scaring or hitting stuff right in your face or anything else like that. There are a couple places with that, but not a whole lot. So overall, glad I came. It was a sort of shorter experience of a shorter experience when I've been here for some of the holiday stuff that they'll do, either for Christmas or some Friday the 13th sort of thing, or something along those lines in the past. In other words, the off-season times I've been here. I think the first time I ever came here, they did a Krampus special for Christmas, and that was in December of 2017. That was the first time I've ever been here, and I think they actually had all 5 open. I don't know if they did any holiday stuff before, but they did, and then Haunted Schoolhouse and the Boar Tree, which I think are owned by the same people. They might have just had the schoolhouse open for like a Valentine's Day, blood-themed sort of thing, which they've done for a few years. Obviously not last year. Wait, no, did they do it last year? Because that might have been before the restrictions, because it'd be February. I'm blanking, I don't remember. And then they'll do like sometimes it's St. Patrick's Day. It's kind of neat. So you go through these haunted houses, and then they have Santa hats or colored lights in like weird places. So it seems it's kind of fun and weird, which is neat. But I think the first year I was here, they did all 5, and then the other sort of special days, the Friday the 13th sort of ones, or other Christmas or other sort of holiday-based ones they did the shorter version, like the 3 out of the 5. But I think they had all of each house open. It really did seem, at least for the first 2, that they were circumvented. There was parts circumvented. And they kind of spit you out in a different way. I could be wrong. It just felt... The first house felt very much shorter than it used to feel. Again, I could just be a little off on my sense of it, but I think they kind of circumvent it. But, and again, I understand with all the restrictions and all the stuff going on, and then also trying to make sure either for the staff and the workers, let alone, especially the customers, making sure that they feel... like their needs are being met, their safety's being met. And if, people are freaked out, like, I don't know if I should do this or not because of everything going on, this is kind of a way to be like, yeah, come on out, have fun, stuff's safe. In front of every house, they had you hand sanitize. They had hand sanitize stations set up in front of everything by the sort of gatekeepers, and you had to sanitize your hands before everyone. So they were, had the hand sanitizing stations. They had a lot of people not a lot, but they had several people wandering in the sort of common between areas, probably making sure people are following what they're supposed to be following. They had it where, and Schoolhouse next week is doing the same thing, where you basically will get, if you go online for your tickets, you go online and you reserve coming in for a chunk of time. So, it's like 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. If you get a 9:30 thing and you show up at 8:30, they're not letting you in until 9:30 hits, and then your sort of block is cleared to go through. And I think they're monitoring as well the on-site box office. So I think that they're going to be, I can't remember exactly how they worded it on the website, but when they sort of hit a limit, they're going to cut it off. So there was already, this afternoon, like early this afternoon when I first looked, they had it where, I think the 7:30 and 8:30s were already sold out. The 9:30s were, quote, filling up and things like that. So even before the box office was open, they had hit their sort of capacity numbers, and then they if you wanted to come in those blocks of time and hit the box office for it, I think they would have been like, no, we're sold out for that chunk of time. So and Schoolhouse is doing the same thing for next week. This is the 15th, so the 22nd. They're doing the same thing for that too. So again, the people are still monitoring their space, making sure that limits are there and everything else like that, to make sure everything's compliant with what they're supposed to do. And it seems like, you know, really trying to take care of their people and the people who want to come in. So, you know, we can have a good time and not, and have people not be worried. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was nice to kind of, I did not come here during the Halloween holiday season last year, because of the restriction stuff. Even though I came now I think they had it where they had, like, you know, if you come on Friday, it's A, B, and C houses. If you come on Saturday, it's, C, E, and F or something. Or was it A, C, E, and then B, D, whatever. So they had it rearranged again, so it's not all 5 houses open at one time. And Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory was doing that as well, where it was one house would be open one night and the other house would be open the other night. And I didn't go to either of those, which just kind of felt like a bummer. But it was like, I don't want to go all. But this is the funny thing: I didn't want to go all the way out to these places. It wasn't going to be the full sort of house experience. And I understand the sort of contradiction in coming at an off-season day when I know damn well they're not going to have everything open. But again, it's an off-season thing, so I'm not expecting everything open. And for the holiday season, for me, the Halloween is the holiday season, from Labor Day through probably that first week of November. That's the holiday season for me. So if it's open on that time, I'm going at that time. I want the full thing. And it just would kind of bum me out that neither factory or schoolhouse and lab were going to have their full thing out for the actual Halloween time. I understood it. I knew where they were coming from with it, or I'm inferring where they're coming from with it, and I get it. But it was just sort of bummed me out, and I was like, I'm not gonna go, man. I was a little bummed over the whole thing anyway. And I was just coming off, well, I mean, it went into October. I had 6 weeks from the end of August through the middle of October. That was sort of like a Murphy's Law time. So it was like, I was really kind of tired. And I had COVID, and everything else was going on, and work and life and cars and stuff in my house and all this other thing. So it's sort of like, if it's not going to be the whole thing, I don't want to drive out there. I was kind of hemming and hawing a little bit. But I knew it wasn't going to be the whole thing this time. And you know what? It wasn't the whole thing. And even if the houses were sort of circumvented and cut a little short, it was still fun. I still enjoyed it. Again, the actors were not all just hillbillies screaming and growling in your face. I saw the contortionist person doing a good job coming after a couple groups. It was kind of neat to watch. Again, it was very nice to be sort of noticed. That was cool. And it's also fun. It's also fun to see people like, wait, you're here by yourself? And then I think some of the people who actually work in these haunted houses who might sort of like, oh yeah, it's that guy. I think I'm that guy to a lot of people, like, oh, it's him. He's by himself again. Okay. We'll just push him along. Which is fine. But then it's also kind of fun to just, since I'm by myself, and if I catch up to other groups, sometimes they turn out, and I'm like, I'm just whatever. I'm just a guy. They're like, oh, okay. And then it happens like 2 or 3 times. It happened in each of the houses, which was neat. People freaked out by me, and I'm just, you know, I got my little shamrock thing, and black. I'm all in black. I understand, but I got my glasses on. You know, big scary glasses and my little schmuck thing here, and you know, ooh, creepy. But I do kind of have a vibe with the, you know, whole Nosferatu thing going on. So anyway, yeah, babbling. I'm just babbling and babbling. So Factory of Terror, the halfway to Halloween thing, it was fun. I enjoyed it. So I will probably do the Haunted Schoolhouse thing. and talk about that as well. I don't know if I might just put all these together. We'll see. Oh, that was exciting. Okay. A little Corolla being Dukes of Hazzard over here. Great. A little snarky. Me. Ooh. So, all right. Happy hunting. Have fun. And I don't really have any other sign-offs for the moment. I just hope everyone's doing well. And we'll see you soon. Thanks. Ciao. All right. It is time for the Haunted Schoolhouse. Halfway to Halloween. So I'm here. Going to the Midway, as it's called. Kind of just rearranging some things. There's some interesting folks hanging out. Some of them like to sit in the middle of a parking lot, which is pretty awesome. You know, that's really good things to do. At hip hop. Excuse me. And yeah, just some interesting stuff going on. It's kind of a nice night out. There's just a lot of people here. Got just, you know, t-shirt weather, which is kind of nice. I do like kind of bundling up. I do like jackets and the scarves and things like that. But it's kind of nice not to have to sometimes. Although I don't have my purse, so my keys are just dangly down, which I'm not altogether too much of a fan of. This is new. I'll walk up to a little bit more here in a second. They kind of had some bar stuff out here before, but it looks like they've actually got like a little castle-y setup thing for it, which is neat. We got a friend, which is neat. I like the lights. I think last time I was here was it 2019 Halloween, and they had a cool there's like this combination smoke bubble machine, which was neat. And yeah, it just kind of put smoke in these bubbles, which was cool. It was just neat. Oh, there's Michael Myers, which is fun. I think that's the bus, this bus over here. They used to have it where you could actually walk through it. Frankenstein, yes! You love Alice Cooper. There is a smallish ghost mask. Oh yeah, this whole bar setup is new. I don't know if they put it in last year, because I didn't come last year, or last Halloween I should say. And then this stuff over here. Yeah, smallish ghost face, which is all good. I don't know if I'm getting waved at or somebody else is. I'm assuming somebody else because they didn't keep my attention. But I feel super awkward right now. There's a long-haired Jason with a brick on a stick, which is kind of cool. I got a lot of people doing some good work out here. Yeah, it's kind of neat. That's a neat little atmosphere. I love the lights. Love the lights out here. It's kind of neat. It just kind of feels like you just want to hang out a little bit. There's a skeleton hanging off the lights. Oh, they got a bunch of skeletons around here. I'm looking at the screen and not at the stuff. That's kind of neat. I dig that. It's like, it's little things, but it shows like a lot of creativity and people having fun with it. And as I've talked about recently, within the last couple days, having a sense of humor about things and knowing kind of who you are and what you are and everything else is a good thing and is desperately needed. There's some big old death there, just in case. Some other picture opportunities. It's pretty good, especially if you just finished, was it season 4 of Castlevania? So that's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna, I think we're gonna take a picture here real fast. put my mask on and got my fast pass ready, and I'm gonna hit it. So let's go. I'm sorry about the music. I have no control over this. They got axe throwing here too, which is cool. I did that a couple years ago and actually did pretty well, which is rare for me because I usually suck at throwing things really bad. I think maybe my Viking ancestors were part of me here. We got more stuff. It's kind of neat. There's indoor stuff here too for later when it's colder in the year. All right, I'm about to go in pretty soon, so there we go. So when you come here to the schoolhouse and at the laboratory part, you go up first. So after the line, you go up and up, and then you get down. So yeah, it's in these old school buildings. And so there's a couple places for the lines, but it's cool. But just so you know, there will be stairs involved on either place, and especially if you do both. Just a quick blurb after floor 1. It was fucking great. It was so good. I think the only critique I would really have is way too much of like you walk past and there's like the compressed air hitting you. There's like all over the place. I'll talk about it more later, but so far great. Okay. Oh man. Again, I apologize for the music. It's not my fault. Holy crap, that was super cool. I do not know how many changes they've already made from last year, but there was changes, and it's just a schoolhouse. The laboratory part's not open for this. But they definitely made some changes since I was here last for Halloween in 2019, and changes for the better. A couple of things, there's like one thing was sort of like this like coffin thing that you can look in, but it's got like some sort of hologram screen or something that projects over it. Now that thing moves at you. A couple of like the halls are a little bit different with some stuff added. There's like this whole exorcist thing, animatronic scene that I don't remember from before, which was cool. And they added some little AV equipment to the very beginning when it looks like you're coming into like a classroom with all these books. Now it's got like a video cassette thing with it too. So for a long time when we came here, it was badass and it was cool and everything. And then a few years ago, they really started stepping their game up, and they did a really good job every year of adding or changing stuff to the permanent sets to make things more interesting and different from the year before. And this year was no different from that so far. I mean, again, I don't know what the changes were from last year, but from when last I was here, there were definite changes. There's, they've kept some of the stuff where you're kind of off on a ramp, or different things that move kind of side to side. Having a little bit of blackout spaces, but not a whole lot. Some places where the hallway's narrow, and then places where it's a big open room, but they guide you around in different places. So they really play with space well, and they've been playing with space well more frequently. They've been getting better at that. The sets are always amazing. There's like this one attic set that's super cool. And there's this other set that's basically like these like real tall scarecrow kind of things with these evil jack-o'-lantern heads. Like the whole room is sort of like this like shack with like these giant scarecrow jack-o'-lantern hen things. Cool. It's really cool. And
cheap and disposable. In 14 years they are decomposable, and unlike my home, they are not foreclosable. Freddie Mac kissed my ass.
Okay. I am wholly ignorant as to what this song is. quite frankly, I was happy in my ignorance. So where was I? Oh yeah, so the sets. So the sets are amazing, and they keep getting better and better, and they added a lot of stuff. Like I said before, with this or Factory, in like the Christmas ones or the St. Patrick's ones, you know, they added, like in the Christmas ones, they, you know, there's some tinsel or some garlands, like a scarf, some Christmas lights or Santa hat they put in. Tonight they did a lot of basically like Jason masks in a lot of places, or the Scream Ghostface. It seemed like there was a sort of movie killer theme. Like there's a couple of Jasons walking around now like we saw before. There were some more Jasons and some ghost faces, and pretty much everyone did a really good job. Like actor-wise, there was one or two sort of like banging door run at you jump scares, but not like screaming in your face, which I was really appreciative of. You can't see it, I'm doing this, so I'm appreciative of that. And so that's good. And there's a couple of people who did, like the Jasons, who did a fantastic job. There's one where there's like a seesaw room, basically, like you know your weight offsets the room, the tips, and the guy was really good. He was just stood there and just really like menacing, and kind of was holding the machete thing towards you in like a really cool way. The guy who's Mike Myers out here did a good job. There was a Mike Myers or two in there that did also a really great job. Again, just silent, had like a good presence. Whoever was Freddy Krueger did a good job, showed up in a couple random places, so whatever little back routes they have through the thing did well. And he was funny, or she, I couldn't hear very well in terms of the tone, but was messing around, you know, shaving my head, sort of joke around with that. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, and then some of the other actors were just sort of playing with you. People had pretty much like a good shtick and didn't need to rely on just screaming in your face or hitting a bunch of things. There was one or two people, again, who sort of slammed the door and jumped at you, but given the fact that most of the rest of the actors were not doing that, it wasn't really annoying, and it wasn't old or played out, because it was just one thing in the sort of spectrum of other stuff going on. Like there's one person, like this big like rooster mask, who just came up to you and was like, "Rock!" It's actually really funny. A couple other people had patter and shtick. There was one dude who had like, you know, bicycle shorts and like a robe thing. Okay, not one of my favorite Queen songs, but at least it's Queen. And like this real long blonde, it was doing like a whole Buffalo Bill thing from Silence of the Lambs, and it was fucking hysterical. It was awesome. And that wasn't something that I had seen them do here before, so that was new. So yeah, there was some new stuff for me, at least. Again, I'm recognizing that I was not here last year so some people who were here last year. It might be like, dude, that's old news. It's not to me. But I noticed the differences and some of the stuff like that. So it was super cool. I'm still bummed that the laboratory isn't open, even though I understand, again, it costs money for that, and this is just a special thing. And they're not usually going to have everything open for just these little special things. You know, whether, you know, it's getting people in or, you know, covering all salaries and all that other stuff. I understand that. I mean, it's still a bum because I love the laboratory as well. There's some really cool scenes in there. And not just because of the big Tesla coil. That is amazing, and I love to be in. I wish I could just sort of sit in the room for not just walking through the little, I don't know if it's technically a Faraday cage. It's fenced, it's like a fenced tunnel. I don't know if it's actually grounded enough to be a Faraday cage, but I'm going to call it a Faraday cage because I think it's fun that I know what that is. But the feeling alone that you get when that thing buzzes off is amazing. I mean, sometimes it can be, I might even use the word exhilarating once in a while. If it catches you just right, yeah, it kind of gives you like this, a literal and figurative buzz. So I just sort of like being in the room with that. But the rest of the thing's cool too. And I think there's 4 rooms in with that, and there's 3 in this. I noticed what they did. The last floor in Schoolhouse is always cool, because it's always been like going down in the basement. And the first part's like has like this open casket, so it looks like you're going into this lower casket. And that's like a traditional thing that they've done that I've always thought was cool as hell. And then you walk into this awesome crypt. And as much as I love the sort of big vampire room in the middle, going into like the whole big crypt sort of thing that they had with it has always been super fun as well. And I've really loved that. And before they used to kind of have like this is a while ago, they had a guy who was actually really funny, who would be sort of like the Undertaker and would joke around with you going down with it. This way now they sort of have it where they created a scene of a hallway out of like a church, and there's like a Madonna statue and some like candles by it and everything else like that, so it actually looks more like a chapel sort of thing even. So yeah, it's, you know, they're really changing that. So they did, it's not so much that they changed the route so much as they sort of gussied it up a little bit, but the sort of open casket and cool crypt looking thing is still in there, which is awesome. So yeah, it was just a good time. I enjoy it a lot. Again, the scenes are amazing. They put a ton of work into doing the scenes, and they've really been doing in the last few years, maybe 5 or 6, maybe something like that. Up in their game, like making sure that, you know, because there are a few years it was pretty much the same thing, and I'm not complaining about that because it was cool. But they've really, oh great, someone mumbling in a monotone, that horrible delivery at me. It's fantastic. I'm really glad like Busta Rhymes started making an album again. It's really great inoculation to the boring nonsense that rap is now. You need more Method Man and Busta Rhymes, and Rip in Peace DMX is that he was needed too. Just to inoculate this nonsense. Anyway, Wu-Tang. But yeah, so they've really done a lot in the last few years to make things different and step the game up and change some things around. And even if there are a couple of things there's like, I miss this, but you know what? They changed it into something different, and the different is cool too. You know, one part they had this big old, you know, Captain Spaulding thing from House of a Thousand Corpses, and that was cool. And the guy right after that, in the beginning of the clown thing, give a shout out to him too. He did a good job timing some of his movements to the strobe lights in with that, which is, if you can do that well, that's always going to be something I'm going to appreciate. So I'm wrapping it up here. I think I've babbled on enough about this. So if there's any specials in Factory of Terror or Haunted Schoolhouse and or Laboratory, and you can get out to do them in Canton and or Akron, depending upon which one is which, hey, go for it. It's fun. It's cool. You know, keep an eye out for Forest of Screams doing special stuff too, because that's going to be fun and cool. And especially now if stuff is going to be lightening up here, hopefully in a couple weeks, so maybe other things can kind of go back into something functional. I'm not going to say normal, because normal's, was it a normal for the spider is, you know, something for the, well, I can't remember the thing. Was it normal for the spider is terror for the fly, or something like that? But, you know, we shouldn't really have too much of a normal, because as we've been learning through all this, there's a lot of things about that preconceived normal that needed to be changed anyway. So back to sort of an openness and just being able to do stuff. It's so nice to actually be able to breathe. So yeah, again, it was a great time. Even if it was just sort of half of it, I still enjoyed it a whole lot. Everyone did a great job. The new stuff is really appreciated and did a great and really cool. And again, you know, shout outs to the people I mentioned before, did a great job. I don't know anyone's names. And again, I wouldn't, because they were, you know, doing their job and doing a good job acting. So yeah, Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory, I'll give that the thing in there too. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's fun. Go see it if you get the chance. See everyone later.
One last thing, guys. Our bar's not closed in. Make sure y'all take care of Tim and Tater. He stayed last night. Or so he says.